Hey, what's happening? So in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I added 100 pounds to my conventional deadlift in about a year. So due to job responsibilities, things of that nature, I was only training about 2 days a week. But then I ended up having to leave my personal training gig because my full-time job keeps me on the road for most of the week and I travel all the time. So you got to look at things as being an opportunity. So during that time, I am training every single day at different gyms and different locations that I go to. So one of my main focuses last year was to attack the weak points. Get rid of the weak points and at least make them good points. Maybe not great, but at least good points. Bring those up to try to be more well-rounded in my strength levels. So I really focused on two things. The overhead press, and then the conventional deadlift. Mind you, unfortunately, I have to go to Planet Fitness. I know it sucks, but I was doing a lot of conventional deadlifts and I know, a Smith machine, right? But at the same time, I also started doing other things because if I can lift the weight, the lockout has never been an issue for me. It's always been breaking that damn weight off the floor. So I started doing Zercher deadlifts, Zercher lift. And while doing those Zercher lifts, I did what you would call speed running. So speed running is nothing more than just a modified version of a Bulgarian type style. So what that is maxing out. So I'd max out on it. I was doing the lift about once a week, maxing out, maxing out, maxing out. Of course, starting with the soft max, working my way up, just running it as fast as I can every week until I ended up hitting a breaking point, and then I just quit the lift altogether. I also started strongman training. So I started doing Atlas stones, and then I started doing the yoke carry along with some farmer's carries. So another thing I ended up doing on top of that, since I was on the road, I ended up coming across some Planet Fitness that had squat racks and deadlift platforms. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So I got this idea in my head, since I was doing this Bulgarian method and other exercises once a week, Bulgarian should be done every day. And I know they say you shouldn't deadlift every day, but hear me out on this one. Sometimes you need to think outside the box and not follow the norm to be able to take yourself to the next level. We are all different. We're going to respond in different ways. And with what I share with you doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's just my own experience, but you can always try to incorporate it to see if it's going to work for you. So what I ended up doing is I come up with this idea of why don't I just deadlift all 3 days that I'm gone, all 3 nights? I know it sounds nuts, doesn't it? However, if we can break that volume up throughout the week, then it should not be a big deal at all. So here's the template that I ended up following. 135 for 5, 225 for 1, 315 for 1, 365 for 1, 405 for 1. And then from there, depending on how I felt, it's either max reps on the last set, or it's just gonna be more times than not a max. 1 rep max, stop it there. We're done deadlifting. Do the same thing on Tuesday, do the same thing again on Wednesday. So I don't know exactly what did it. I think it was a little bit of everything, okay? The Zercher lifts, I think, definitely helped because you are in a very low seated position, got the weights in the crook of your elbows, and you're coming out of the hole from a very low squat. And then the yoke carries over to a lot of things too. Now the yoke and the strongman stuff, I only ran that until, I started that in July last year, only ran it until about October. Once it got too cold, I didn't want to risk hurting myself and then, slipping on ice in the wintertime or anything like that. So that was only like a 4-month thing. Now, the deadlifting every day, not every day, but 3 days in a row, every single week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That went on for over 6 months. I was seeing good improvements with that I kept running it until I stopped. So early last year, the max deadlift was 445 pounds for 1 rep. Mind you, I did not deadlift a whole lot up until this time, at least not for a year. So I would max out on my deadlifts, I'd get it up, things would happen, and then I'd move on to a different exercise. Once I hit that peak, I usually switch things up. So I started to focus on the deadlift, hit an all-time PR of 445 early last year. Was out in Erie, Pennsylvania at the Planet Fitness and ended up hitting 545. I come back home about a month ago, I ended up hitting 545 for a second time. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty awesome. So I just wanted to get on here and share that with you. I'm not saying it's gonna work for you, but as you can see, I thought outside the box, because by doing singles 3 days a week, how many reps am I really getting total for that week? 30 reps, 40 reps? I mean, sometimes people do that many reps on a deadlift within one training session. But here's the kicker, folks. I was able to max out 3 reps every single week with maximal loads, doing that for the period of 6 months. So what I ended up doing is I hit that wall. I have not hit 545. However, every time I go and I try to hit 515, 525, all depending on how I feel that day, on how the 475 felt, then I'm good. I have not missed a deadlift in a long time, because it's all about being able to tell where you're at, right? Strength levels, how does this feel? Okay, I'm feeling strong today, we're going for it, right? Not feeling that strong today, so let's ease off a little bit, 515 today. So I just wanted to get on here and share that with you. Overhead press, we'll do a video on that as well later on. But all right, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I hope you all have an awesome day. Until next time. Woo!